Good people, welcome back to another episode of Podcast with Pari. It's so good to be back. We're here at the Highlands House while we're about to film a very exciting guest. We spent a lot of time with him. I know a lot of you spend a lot of time with him. It might be in your home on your verandas, drinking a glass of wine, or you might find him on the counter in liquor supplies, but he's with us in more places than we realize. Anyways, we've got Tinashe Nyamudoka here with us, Kumusha Wines, and let's hear what he's got to say. Very excited for this episode. Guys, the best way you could support this channel is by liking this video, leaving a comment down below. And the more likes and comments and subscriptions that we get, the bigger and better the show can get, the more sponsorship that we can get coming through. So please do like and comment and subscribe, and we'll see you in the episode. Good people, I can't tell you how excited I am for this episode. One, because we've got a great guest on, but two, because I love wine, all right? And I love drinking it, I love smelling it, I love sharing it. And today we've got a guest on our sofa who does all of the above and more. And it probably can give us a bit more information on wine and a bit more about a story. But Tinashe, welcome to the show. Very good to have you here.
Awesome.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's so nice to have you. And I hope we make you feel comfortable, and just be yourself. Enjoy.
No, awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Big fan of your podcast. So, yeah, I'm excited about the chats and also to enjoy some good wine on the show as well. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, good. Well, we'd like to just first by, I think a lot of us have heard a lot of your story, of how you started, and I'm started here in Zim, managing a grocery store, and then moved over to South Africa and worked in the hospitality industry there, mm-hmm. and then sort of climbing up from there. But I would like to hear it from the horse's mouth more, and just give us a brief about how you've begun and Kumusha itself.
No, yeah, man. Like I said, pretty much true what you've covered already. But Tinashe Nyamudoka, born in Nyanga, Mount Meru Hospital.
Okay.
But grew up in Harare, and went to school Avondale Primary. Then my high school I did in Nyanga at St. Mary's. Then went to A-level Sandringham. And growing up, man, was just so fun. I grew up in Avondale, saw the whole Avondale shopping center from ground. I remember when we were growing up, it was only a TM and a Bon Marché, Shamrock across the road, Nando's came in, Wimpy, all that stuff.
So those were the ends for you. Eh? That's where you hang out. That's where you in the early days.
Out, or Ellis Brown swimming pool.
Yes,
Would ride with my friend to McDonald's, Avondale West. Because most of my friends would stay there. So that was my my primary school. Then obviously you go to boarding school for your high school. I was away most of the time, but I was always that active guy.
Yeah.
Always finding stuff to do, be it sport. I love sport quite a lot. I was a nice, great sprinter. So I used every opportunity to get on the school trip bus. If I was going to be a medic or the reporter, I'd just use that as well. I remember the school that I went didn't have cricket. I got to the guys in woodwork and can you make me bats and stumps?
Really? Are you a big cricket fan?
Yeah, huge cricket fan.
Really, eh?
And again, obviously I grew up in Avondale. Then we moved to the Avenues. So, I'd go with my school uniform to Harare Sports Club to watch the guys play.
Who was there in that era? That was like Heath
Andy
Streak and then Flower.
Streaks, the Olongas.
Brendan Taylor in his early days.
Yeah. Andy Bleak Nods.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was fun times.
That was a powerhouse team.
Fun times.
Those are the guys that really put us on the map when it comes to Zimbabwe cricket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think life really started to take a turn. Like my dad passed away when I was 16. I think just 2 weeks before I wrote my O-levels. And it marked a different trajectory in my life, because I grew up with my dad that divorced when I was young. And so after high school I went on to high school to do my A-levels. And if I look back, man, in my mind then, I was a bright student. Like, you check my O levels, I've got 7 A's, 3 B's, and a C. But the school environment wasn't my thing, man. I never enjoyed school apart from being in boarding and having fun. The thought of academics wasn't really in me.
Yeah.
So when I went to high school, yeah, I didn't perform as good as I wanted, man. You know, I think I had 6, 7 points or something.
This is when you went to sixth form, like low six, upper six.
Yeah, doing accounting, computer science, mathematics. For why, I don't know. I took those probably pressures from that time. But yeah, so after high school, the thought of going to college, university wasn't even
For you.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't cut for that. So I went straight on to work. That's where I got a job working at TM.
Yes.
Just packing shelves. And the manager there was like, dude, you know, you're a smart boy. You know, your O levels are great. You didn't do very badly on the A levels. I would love to help you out. So, you know, he put me in I think Mikkel's was doing a junior management program in all the TM supermarkets.
Okay.
And yeah, he got fast-tracked me in there. So I was being taught to run a bakery, run cash office, run front of house. And I was probably 19, 20 by then.
You're young. How old are you, by the way, now?
So now I just turned 39 in July.
39.
Yeah.
85 baby.
85, yeah.
85 baby.
85
There
baby.
you go,
So yeah, man, it's then I enjoyed my time at the supermarket, man. It was, again, I was just,
I guess you're young, it's fun, it's you know,
Yeah.
it's also it's a sort of a source of income straight out of school.
get out of school, man, you know, the sugar was in low demand, you know, I had access to that cooking oil.
That was the time during that like 2008 time.
Yeah.
Would have been, eh?
So I probably joined 2005, then 6, 7, 8, around that time. So yeah, traded a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I was always resourceful from a young age, man. Then obviously 2008 came, things were really tough. I just threw in the towel and went down south. Yeah, so when I got to South Africa, first time leaving the country actually. Then I got to Cape Town, tried to find a job in the supermarket, but yeah, the realities were just like so bleak. Firstly, I didn't know you needed a permit to
work.
be working in another country. Second of all, there weren't any black persons doing what I was doing. So settled for a job in a bakery. My first job in South Africa, I was working for a spa bakery. Did that for 3 months. It was horrible. It was winter 2008.
Yeah.
I had to wake up in the morning.
Cape Town winters unpleasant.
Yeah, man, it was just tough. But yeah, you know, I love how communities just kind of grow up and help you, because the Zim community was just growing, man. Then there weren't many Zimbabweans in Cape Town that time.
Even still, are there lots? I don't. You know, you do. Are they there?
Quite a decent number now. I think.
Not compared to Joburg,
Yeah,
obviously.
not compared to Joburg, yeah. So I then kind of found out that people were making money in restaurants, man. Like the waiters were making nice tips, and my friend was working in a restaurant. I was like, what I was making in a week in a bakery, I was getting it in one day. So for me, it was a no-brainer, man. The money's in the restaurants, but I didn't have any experience. Just tailor-made my resume, got a job, but they gave me polishing glasses.
Really, yeah?
Yeah. So I did that for a few months, but man, I think also for me it's been that resourcefulness and never felt pity about myself.
Yeah, man.
You know, I've just always been, okay, I'm in a situation, what do you do about it? You can moan and feel miserable. I've always been that guy who's in a situation, make the best of
Make
it.
the best, yeah.
I was enjoying the waitering job, man, and obviously I knew if to make more money, you needed to sell a lot of wine.
Yeah.
So say I'm going to study that stuff. So
Is that where the
Yeah.
wine journey began?
yeah, so I'm like, man, I need to read everything I can about these bottles of wine, and bro, the buck just hit. I think what hit me with wine was, if I look back, like I said, I took A-level, what did I take? Maths, computer science, accounts. I should have taken history, geography, literature, because wine, man, it's about history, it's about tradition, it's about geography. and stuff that I was good at. I was like, man, I
That's
love this.
interesting. Yeah.
I love this stuff. And they told me you can make money out of drinking, of course.
Side me up.
Yeah, so yeah, man, I just, again, there was managers who said, dude, I think we'll send you through to the wine school. So they paid for me to do Cape Wine Academy courses. Yeah, so that's where my wine journey began, man. So it started off as like wanting to make money out of sales in the restaurant. Then I started drinking the beverage. I'm like, okay, it's so nice to store.
Yeah.
And that learning just took over. I worked for that place for like 6 months. Got another job for One and Only Hotel.
Okay.
Just opening in 2009.
That's at the waterfront. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was part of that opening team. So they got me as a wine waiter there. But it's the first time I saw that there was a profession of a sommelier, because there was a whole wine dedicated team.
I want to stop you there. You know, when you say you first saw there was a profession of a sommelier, you know, it's one thing that us as Zimbabweans don't really even have too many. I don't know if there's too many of them here, to be fair. I don't know if too many people in my circle know of a sommelier or have ever met one. Yeah. And now, let alone, we've got a Zimbabwean who's in Cape Town, leading the industry, not just from Zimbabwe and Joburg, Cape Town, but leading the industry in the world. You know, and what I would like to sort of, I think my question to you is what is a sommelier? What is that person? What is it to you, or how would you explain it to our audience watching?
Yeah, man, in simple terms, it's a wine waiter, someone who just serves you wine. But in my understanding and my love of the profession is someone who's highly qualified in wine knowledge. That's production, you know, origin, where the wine is coming from. You know how to serve it properly, you know how to communicate it properly. And if you're working in an establishment, obviously you're involved in sourcing and making sure, you know, that the etiquette is just followed. You're well versed with different cuisines from around the world, and good communicator. I think that's what the job entails.
And so you went to the wine academy, wine school. This is to learn to become a sommelier. So once you finish that process, you're a sommelier.
Yeah, which is always ongoing, man. There's a lot of courses around there, but I think I kind of like made them in phases and just growing my profession. Obviously, you need the paperwork, but the majority of the job is working in restaurants. So I grew up from being junior sommelier at the One and Only to sommelier. I was working in a Japanese restaurant, Nobu.
Yeah.
And
beautiful restaurant.
Yeah, delicious food. Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Delicious food.
My first ever job was also a waiter in a Japanese restaurant in Australia called Sake,
Japanese wine,
the rice wine. And I worked there my whole 4 years there, you know, and I absolutely loved it. And similar to you, learned a lot about wines and whiskies and all sorts of different alcohols. Also started polishing glasses, and then they put me behind the bar and worked behind the bar, which was amazing,
man.
You know?
So for me, I always like looking back, because I've always been an introverted person. I mean, that guy who sits in the back but knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
So I think for me, the restaurant opened me up. Like, I knew I could speak because I knew and understood the wine, but the waitering, man, it teaches you a lot. You meet a lot of people, time management, selling skills. It's invaluable information you can learn from a school, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
And I also think, you know, at some stage in everyone's life, you should be in the hospitality industry.
Yeah, definitely. I'll really recommend it, and my children are going through that as well.
Really, eh? I think it just teaches you, like you said, to manage to be able to, because so many different people come through that door, you know, and everyone is different, and you've got to learn how to be able to accommodate people. Some situations might get sticky. Some customers are not the most pleasant. Some are rude. Some are overly kind. But learning how to deal with people in that space, I think. It gives us a certain humility as a person, as working in the hospitality industry. So I would vouch for everyone, you know, if you've got the chance to, if you've got the opportunity to get into the hospitality industry and give it a go.
Yeah,
you know?
amazing space here.
Thank you to our sponsor, Liquor Supplies. We all know liquor supplies here in Zimbabwe, where you get everything you need in one stop. You know, from your whiskey, spirits, wines, beers, ciders, everything you're talking about, they got it. 7 stores around the country: Harare, Hwange, Bulawayo, the Big Falls. We want to thank them as a sponsor and for their support, and let's carry on supporting them. Thank you very much. But talking about wines, you know, you've whet my palate already. You know, it's you know, we will talk about them more. But you brought us 2 wines here.
Yeah,
I would love to hear some of just also hear about your story and a bit more. But we'd love to just at least just pop the bottles.
Yeah, I hope this one doesn't get messy.
Let's see.
So it's a new style that I've just released. I call it a pet nut style. So I'm using the bottle cap. Okay, I got it.
Had a bit of a fizz there.
Yeah, it's got a fizz to it. So yeah, I've been having my wine brand for like 8 years now, and people have been asking, man, when is the sparkling wine coming? So this is the first time I did a sparkling wine.
Oh, look at that.
That's my one. Yeah.
Here we go. So this is your first range of sparkling wines.
Yeah. So I call the range the word Mutupo. I don't know, Mutupo Nishi. Nyati, yeah. In Rimeta, Shato. Yeah. Python. Yeah, scares a lot of people, but yeah, I think so. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
I'm excited to try this.
So it's nice sparkling, little bit of RS. Usually I like dry style, champagne style. But I know everyone has a sweet tooth somewhere, somehow, so I deliberately left a little bit of sugar in it to be palatable.
Sweeter.
People have been calling it a breakfast wine. Mimosas are in season now as well. So.
Put a bit of orange juice and give it away.
Yeah.
This is nice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So tell me, for some of the people watching, you said this is a sparkling wine.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that champagne comes from Champagne
Yeah.
region in France. But give us a bit more about that background of why you called it, because you mentioned earlier it's called pet nat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to know a bit more about why just the names and how this has all sort of come together, how it works.
Oh yeah. Obviously, everything is origin. That's the beauty of wine. Wine from South Africa, wine from France, all taste different. Wine from Zimbabwe tastes different. So I call it a pet nat because it's the style of sparkling wine. I goes under 9 months on the lease. Then I just pop it up, clean it up, close it with the beer cap. So traditionally in Champagne,
interesting to see it closed with beer. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Is it a common thing these
So
days?
it's just, I think what excites me about wine now is becoming fresh and new techniques, old techniques coming through. My wine style, wine range is part of the new school, fresh, clean, quirky, sometimes geeky.
But even the label itself, if you have a look here, it's quite a funky label. It's very it's very different, and for me, because I'm not very, so how do you say? Yes, I'm enjoying my wines, but I'm not a sommelier by any means of the word.
Yeah.
So when I choose wine in the stores, I choose it by what it
Label.
by what the bottle looks like, or how nice, how sexy does the bottle look, or how sexy does the label look.
Yeah.
And if I saw that, I would quite like. I'd be like, geez, that looks fresh, fun with the bottle cap.
Yeah, it tells the story. Like wine is all about stories, right? Even the wine itself, I call it Kumusha, right? Which obviously means your home, your roots, your origin. And why I started it is because now I'd found this new love of wine. When I'm going to school, I'm learning about other people's cultures, history, the French, Champagne, German Rieslings, paella in Rioja with their wine. And nothing seemed to talk about my culture and my food and my tradition. So that was the probably the light bulb moment. Is like wine is about history, tradition, food, and I'm only learning about other people's. I'm not showcasing my tradition. So I said, you know what, I want to start a wine brand that honors my tradition, my food, my language. And man, I'm doing wine tasting and it's like, you know, in the cab you should pick up black currants and cassis. But I've never seen a black currant tree. Me, I grew up eating matamba, tsuvu, maroro, majanje. And that's what I pick up in wine when I smell wine. And those are nostalgic memories. So I think that...
Taste all of that when you taste wine.
So you don't taste it, but you perceive the smell. So it's not like we put strawberries and raspberries in the wine. So when wine is fermenting, this what we call phenols. So these phenols release these aromas we associate with fruits, herbs, flavors, aromas as well.
Do you know what? I think you might actually be joking me.
Yeah.
So whenever they say there's hints of blueberries and guava and peach, and they haven't actually put like. Do you know, as I've always thought.
Yeah.
I've always thought
that's what I thought when I started as well.
Blueberries.
Yeah.
So no, they
No, so that's what I thought when I started. But when you're learning and you realize, no, it's actually what you associate wine with. So that when it becomes interesting now. I'm like, okay, if you've never eaten a pineapple, how are you gonna? Yeah.
So then that's up to your own interpretation.
Yes.
Because someone can't tell me you must pick this up.
No, you can't. Yeah.
I'll just smell this now. I'll tell you what I pick up.
Yeah.
Can you do it with sparkling wine?
Yeah, you can. Don't know what you pick up, but I kind of pick up the majanja I was talking about. You know, when they're still yellow, they haven't hit the mbare msika, they're still coming from Mutoko, they're somewhere.
I don't know if it's because you said guava, but I pick up.
Yeah, guava as well.
I pick up some guava.
Yeah.
And then you taste it. There. See, there's definitely strawberries in there.
Yeah.
For me.
For you.
I'm not. But that's
Believe me, we don't add any fruit. It's just grape juice, fermented, matured.
Really?
No flavoring, no what.
So you said, so Kumusha wine, is this made in Zimmerman?
No. So the Kumusha wine is all made in South Africa.
Okay.
Cape Town. I don't own any vineyards yet, but I work with 4 different farms where I source fruit and juice and do all my winemaking, maturation, distribution at a farm called Opstal in Rossonville.
Opstal?
Yeah, so I've worked with them for the last 5 years. They've become partners, especially when the business was growing. And to answer the question, even when it started, people are like, oh, this guy is lying. The wine is not even from Zimbabwe. Yeah. And there's no point I ever say the wine from Zimbabwe. I think I was clear from the onset that the wines are in South Africa made by a Zimbabwean. And we have a history of making wines in Zimbabwe, which was...
Do we make wines now?
Yeah, we still. And it was like, it was thriving. I think between the late 80s, early 90s, the industry at its peak. I think we're doing 6 million liters a year.
Come on.
Exporting.
On what areas?
Mostly the wines were coming from Mukuyu in the Ruzawi River area. Odzi still have some vineyards. We had Esigodini, Stapleford in Gweru.
What sort of climate you need? You need it to be cold, eh?
Yeah, so that's the challenge with Zimbabwe now. So for most winemaking regions, it rains and it's cold in winter. Then you have dry summers because that's when you're harvesting. So the challenge with Zimbabwe is we receive our rains late December, January, heavy in February and March, and that's where you're peaking. So the challenge is because there's always cloud cover during that ripening season, so you don't get enough sugar content ripeness. It's just like, have you ever, you've got mango. That's my perfect description is like, everyone knows the mango season, in Zim, but people try to pick it. Once you see it, it's like a bit yellow. Then you bite it, but it's not ripe. So that's what Zimbabwean challenge is. So they'll try to pick before the rains, and mostly try to pick in December.
Can you grow it in greenhouses? Like, can you have a vineyard under a greenhouse?
You could, but
so you could control it. Just the cost is too much.
Yeah, cost is too much, and if you're growing these you need 3 kilos to make 1 bottle. So if you're going to plant in a greenhouse, it's just like, So that's the challenge with Zim. But
is it possible?
Especially now, probably if we had good vineyards, last year would have been the best vintage because there wasn't any rain. So the effects of drought is good for wine in a Zimbabwean context. But
someone's once told me the quickest way for a billionaire to become a millionaire is to own your own vineyard. as like, it's just a money sinking pit.
Oh
But
yeah.
I want to hear from.
No, I wouldn't. If you give me $1 billion or even give me a 10 million, I wouldn't sink it in a vineyard, man. It's capital intensive. So I'll give you an if you had to plant a vineyard today, obviously you transplant them when they're a year old. You'd have to wait 4 years until you start to make proper wine. So every year you're not making anything, and you're just like putting money in. So most of the vineyards you see, like one of the farm I work with is 7th generation, man. They've paid their land off, their cost off already. So
now they're running.
if you start today, there's no way I'm gonna start my own vineyard here. I would rather stick to the model of sourcing from good vineyards and making my own. Yeah.
So that's what you do as Kumusha, and you've got vineyards that you source from.
Yeah.
And then do you pick the flavors yourself and say, I want to get from that vineyard in Stellenbosch, I want to get this grape, give me this grape,
Yes.
and then so you do would you say blending of it?
Even the picking and the wine making decisions, I do myself. So when I started, I used to be what they call a cellarate. Cellarate. So I would walk into your cellar and like, okay, you tell me you've got this been maturing for a year, for 2 years. I taste, then I blend. But I couldn't get to my style that I wanted. So for 2 years I did that. Then from the 3rd year, I'd invested in my own equipment. Then I started going to the farms and say, okay, I want this block. Let's harvest it today. I'm treating it in this new barrel. I'm treating it in this concrete. For how long? Then I locked in my style and my taste. And that's what you have now. So that's what I do at the moment, yeah.
I want to say, I really like the Kumusha wines. And I'm not saying this just because you're on the show. I'm a big white wine drinker. Okay, I love white wine and roses. I love rosé, but I've never been a big red wine drinker unless it's on a dinner. Nice even steak. But just for casual drinking, I'll drink wine by the bottle.
So this is my interesting red, man. Like I call this one the Hurudza.
Yes.
And Hurudza is what you call it, master farmer.
It's the they're like the king farmer.
Yeah, king farmer. So another thing that hit me again, man. Like I say, I work with these wineries, and they are 7th generation wine farms. And one of the farms I know, they even have pictures from generation number 4 to the current generation.
Really?
And I looked into my context. I'm like, man, I barely have a lot of pictures from my grandfather. Or my great-grandfather. I don't even know what it looked like.
Which actually don't. I'm just for supporting for the family that they can also have a taste.
Awesome. I like this old school
That old school
wine aerobics thing. Yeah, you don't even need to go to the gym with this kind of thing.
Shings, it's 11 a.m. and I know you're not a very big drinker.
Oh man. It's 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. in another area, yeah.
12 o'clock somewhere.
Pass me your glass.
All right, Phyllis. Go on, cheers. L'chaim.
Yeah. So like I said, that also hit me like, man, I grew up going Kumusha, but I know my generation going Kumusha meant you were missing out on the TV, man.
Yeah.
Going Kumusha means you're missing on the TV, bruh.
So you didn't want to go?
Oh, I come back, they're talking about, did you watch that movie? Like, yeah. What was it all about? So I'm part of that. Like, my dad used to say me Kumusha, but I'm grateful for that now as I've grown older. Like, I love going to the rural. I love mountains. I love water. I love the farming culture. And what hit me was like, I'm seeing these people, they've preserved their culture, history, their generations. Ati, who's 7th generation, his dad is there. His grandfather used to make wine. And I realized my grandfather was the actual, he didn't own a big farm, but Kumusha to Zikano, Pari Nyamudoka, he's big on cotton. So that's how he sent his school to kids. He was self-taught. He wrote everything in his diary. This year we had a good crop. We planted on this date. We harvested on this date. And it was like, man, I felt bad because at that time,
you didn't care about it at the time.
Man, and I'm like, sometimes I blame our parents, the generation, because those are the guys who grew up in the rural, right? Then they moved to town and just left it.
And we never were forced to go back as
Yeah,
kids, or
yeah.
even not even encouraged, even myself personally, you know. And but the older you get, similar to what you just said, the more you realize the value of that. You know, it's going to almost.
I'm like, yeah.
So I'm talking about I'm Kwarusabe,
Yeah.
you know, and from Rusabe we then moved to Mrewa,
Yes.
Chitoa, and so we've still got our farm in Rusabe,
Yeah.
but we've got one in Mrewa there.
Yeah.
But the one in Rusabe is the one we go to more. And then we go there because it's a we want to say almost a commercial
Yeah.
farm.
Yeah.
But the one in Murewa, I don't frequent there. But we go there and we see Anagua, and
Yes,
it's nice. It's
yes,
nice to go there.
it's nice, man.
It's so special.
Yeah.
So this Kumusha is it's got such a profound meaning.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
just to be able to go back.
Exactly, man. Yeah.
Thank you to our sponsors, Drop Beverage Solutions, leading supplier of everything beverage on the hospitality market in Zimbabwe. If you're a restaurant, guest house, a B&B, hotel, lodge, or even office, they can offer you beverages through their wide range of products. Their additional services include training, from innovation to menu development and marketing. Drop Beverage Solutions could not be prouder to be the exclusive supplier of Kumusha wines here in Zimbabwe. So thank you to Drop Beverages. Their link is in the description below. Give them a like and follow and go and see their page. Thanks very much.
So I told people I sell wine because I have to make a living, man. But for me, the whole Kumusha is about honoring our roots and preserving our history. So I was like, you know what, the least I can do is dedicate this wine to my grandfather, the work that he put on. And yeah, so I even had,
This is dedicated.
yeah, I even write it at the back of the label. And I taught myself, so I've already started making the land work. I'm already planting organic ginger, turmeric, garlic, and just to get it work, and you know, investing more in that property. You know, we can live in the cities, but I'm a country boy, so I think, yeah, when people see Kumusha, they should really enjoy the wine. But for me, it's about preserving our trip, because I feel man without cultural context is lost, and that's what we as Africans have been swayed away. Man, how they
should be our cornerstone.
yeah, bro.
That's where we're strong.
Yeah,
as
bro.
Africans. You know, that's the, if we don't have anything else, that's the one thing we should hold on to is our heritage.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So for me, it's just rewriting that. I know we've lost along the way, but we can start. You know, I'm that generation who's conscious and be like, I'm proud to be Zimbabwean. I'm proud to be African. I'm proud to be Manyika. I'm proud to be a Meta. You know.
But you know what? I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that. Cheers. Cheers to
Cheers.
that. You know, on that point, you know, of how we should take note in our heritage and whatnot. And we started this brand, Kumusha, which has now become a brand. It's a household name in wines. Okay,
International brand.
international. Amen. Amen. Come on.
We shouldn't be apologetic about
Yes,
it. Yeah.
state your name. State your name.
Yeah.
You know, now this has become a brand. I want to know the support. Do you get the support that you want from Zimbabweans? You know, when they see this Kumusha wine, you know, now in the world we're flooded by so much variety and choice. You know, I walk into the store and you can choose between 20 different wines. You know? What I would like is to walk in and see Kumusha and be like, you know, I want to support that.
Yeah.
Do you find you're getting that support? Do you find that people are rallying behind your brand name?
Yeah, man, I think, to be honest, when I started, there were a lot of skeptics. Like, okay, you know, everything in Zunetwanem boy, people doubt, especially if it's not something they're used to.
Yeah.
So I think the early doubters, man, they were there. It was rough, but when I knew I had my mission, I was honest, I was truthful to what I was doing, I pushed on. And man, I have to say, Zim now, bro, the support I get from this market alone it's just been immense, man. And you know, I was speaking to you earlier that I just wanted to be part of the conversation, right? I just wanted to have, you know, let's converse. If you're doing something traditional, if you're thinking of home, if you're thinking of this cultural thing, the wine, the Kumusha is that experience.
Yeah.
Many you have no idea how many people are doing their roras and traditional weddings and like, no, we want Kumusha on there because it's part of the culture, right?
Yeah.
So man, I'm grateful with the support I'm getting in Zim now.
Good.
It's just been phenomenal. Well, obviously, on a global, our people are not really a lot in one place. But there are a lot of people supporting in the US, Kenya, Nigeria. Man, I export to the US to 31 different states.
Really, eh?
I've been to 25 and I meet Zimbos all the time. Sell in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, Rwanda.
What sort of what sort of scale wine is it? Okay, obviously when I look at red wine, we hear of the Ruperts and Rothschild and whatnot, and then you see Kumusha, and then you might see it's cheap, but 57th Street.
Oh, 4th Street.
It's cheap that wine.
Yeah.
It's 4th Street.
Yeah.
Okay, so what? And I'm not laughing at that.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. Yeah.
But where would you put yourself in terms of category? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that a fair question?
It's a fair question. I think in the bigger schemes with the brands you mentioned, I'm just a drop in the ocean, right? I'm still small in terms.
I'm talking more quality.
More quality, or quality-wise.
Quality-wise.
Oh man, quality, man. I'm bang exceptional, man. Pie exceptional. My wines are delicious, man. My wines. I can bet you I'll put this Urudza, we pour R&R Classic, we pour Chocolate Block, and ask you to come and taste, you pick Urudza, man.
You think so?
So for me, you know what? So when I started this project, so when I was learning wine, I understood the history, the winemaking. But the most important thing that I did was, I'm still a judge. So we evaluate wines every year from all over the world. I can just pour you this glass, I evaluated the quality. At my peak, I would taste more than 6,000 wines a year.
A year.
At my peak. I would be probably sitting on board of judging. So I knew what quality wine was, and I knew where to get it, and I knew how it was made.
Yeah.
So before I even put cork in bottle and started a brand, I knew my quality was good. You're going to judge me on anything else, not quality.
Not the quality.
Yes. So quality-wise, that's why, man, it's no fluke that the wine is doing well.
Yeah.
And when I started, it's like, I don't want, you mentioned the label, you buy by the label, it's your first time, you drink it, and you be like, I like this wine. Yeah. And you go back, you buy 2-3 bottles. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't buy back something that you don't like, right?
Absolutely.
So for me, with the way the brand is growing and I've got people, buying my wines, I feel it, man. I feel it. I was in San Francisco doing a tasting, and just out of curiosity, I asked the lady who was there, I'm like, okay, how did you find about the brand? It's like, no, I was in a store, I asked for a recommendation. I went home, I opened the Chenin Blanc. I was like, I love this wine. The next day, I went and bought everything that was in the store. I gifted my friend. She liked it. The next day, she went and bought everything that was in the store.
If there's something that will give you repeat customers, it is the quality of your product, And that obviously goes to show it. What I also like about it, I go into liquor suppliers and I see, it's obviously it's littered there. But the price point is so reasonable.
Yeah.
And I think it just makes it so much more like, our guy from Zimbabwe is giving us a product which is top quality, but is making it affordable for everyone to sort of buy a bottle and drink and enjoy it. It's 10, 12, 15, maybe $15 for a bottle, which is nice.
Yeah.
And so
slightly cheaper than it. But you mentioned liquor supplies, man. I have to give a shout out for them, man. In any business, any venture, man, if you don't have, especially in our business, if you don't have your distribution channel sorted out, you never survive, man. So shout out to liquor supplies, Ilan Weisenbacher. I remember meeting him in 2020. I was like, Tinashe, I like your brand. I'm Zimbabwean. This is what I'm doing in the country. Let's work together.
Yeah.
And without them giving me shelf space and, branding in the stores, I wouldn't have got to the customers.
Really, yeah.
So I just love that. And I think for me, at the moment, that's what I'm loving about this new young generation in Zimbabwe, entrepreneurs recognizing each other.
Is Ilan a young?
Yeah. So
and what's your relationship like with Ilan? He's the owner of Liquor Supplies, or a shareholder?
Shareholder, yeah.
Okay.
Man, he's like I said, man, I'm excited with what's happening in the country now in terms of creatives, entrepreneurships, and people making a difference. Me selling wines means there are people employed in liquor supplies, there are people employed in Three Monkeys. And Ilan, I know he's a shy guy, very reserved, but he's one of the brilliant minds and great entrepreneurs this country is producing. And the way he's passionate about the country, and he probably employs around 500 people in the country. And him being young and me being young, and we understand each other. That what excites me about the country. I know there's a lot of young entrepreneurs, and I think we're at a point where we're finding that ecosystem, and like, how can we help the country? How can we forge forward? How can we, let the past be past, but create a future for us also? I'm a bit about Zimbabwe, man. I'm excited, to be honest. Yeah.
Why aren't you living in Zimbabwe then?
Obviously, I still produce my wines in South Africa. But to tell you the truth, if I had it my way, I'll be living here. But obviously, I think also nowadays, man, we global citizens. I know there's immigration all over the place, but for me, it was a blessing in disguise to leave the country. I don't think I would have started Kumusha if I had spent all my life in Zim. So yeah,
it opened up opportunities.
Yeah, so there's still opportunities that I can tap from South Africa, and I'm happy. I'm at a point where I can choose where I want to live, and I can enjoy the best of both worlds.
I want to ask you, maybe I don't know if it's too much of a personal question, but yeah, it's just business wise. So say if Musha started, and what year did you start?
I would say my first sale was in 2017.
2017.
Yeah, November 2017. Yeah.
And in 2017, how many liters of wine did you have moved in that year?
I had 1,200 bottles.
Really?
Yeah. I knew them.
And you moved that.
I sold them all, man. My first vintage flew. I even forgot to keep for my library stock. So ever since, I'm still buying back from the people who bought from me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that first range that came out, you still have to buy it back because you sold it all.
Yeah, I sold it all. I forgot to keep for my library stock. Now I go and buy. I know I've actually exchanged one bottle for a case of wine. Yeah, to get that first vintage. So I think I have bought back. I have maybe about 13 of my first vintage out of the 1,200. Yeah.
And what sort of volumes would you be moving now today?
Oh man, I'm probably in excess of 300,000 bottles a year.
Wow.
Yeah. And by this end of year, man, I'm pushing for that 500,000. And yeah, in the next 5 years, probably doing in excess of 1 million bottles a year, I think.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Man, that's exciting, eh? You've grown.
And this is not like selling out, man. I even struggle on some of the wines. I don't make enough of the wine just because of the quality where I get it from. So
yeah. So what, you can't get enough of the right place.
Yeah. So the thing is, that disadvantage of my model is because there's no written contracts. They don't want that in the vineyard. So I have to be at the mercy of the person selling me. Yeah. So I know one of my lines, the Pinotage, the Sauvignon Blanc, those vineyards are in so much demand, and it's only as much as you can get. So
you get what you're given.
So for example, my Pinotage, I sell out before I even put cork in it.
Really? That goes to all your distributors, it sells out.
Yeah, I try to allocate it. Zim gets maybe 200 bottles a year. America, the one that...
Only 200 we get in Zim?
Yeah, maybe 300 of the Pinotage. Yeah.
So I sign up for a bottle?
Yeah.
It sounds quite exclusive.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay, so you've grown from height to height during COVID. I want to know, obviously in South Africa, ban on alcohol.
Yeah.
It's black market alcohol. And now we're talking. You're buying from behind.
Yeah.
Paying exorbitant amounts for. How did you do during that?
That COVID was a blessing in disguise for my brand. I'll tell you why. Because you asked about the appreciation. So my first 2 vintages. So I released in 2017. It sold out. I was like, man, I'm in business now. 2018, I think I doubled my production. Kind of sold very well. 2020, I introduced a white and I had a red, and I think I overproduced in 2019. So that stuff didn't move, man. And people would recognize the brand. Oh man, we love this culture. Can we have it for an event and free? And I'm like, man, what's going on here? So the wine didn't sell, to be honest. And at some point, I was just giving for free.
Why? Because people weren't wanting to buy, or you needed to get with you needed to market.
I figured, I was like, what's happening? And I couldn't figure out. And I realized, okay, it's a new brand. And man, the honest truth is business. People always think you come up with a product, you come up with an idea, and everyone is obliged to buy. It doesn't work that way, man. If you have a great product, your onus is on you to convince the customer to buy. So I think my mentality when I started was like, okay, this is so different. This is Zimbabwean. People just flog over it and buy over it. And the human mind is not like that, man.
So what's your blueprint?
What then happened was, like, I think by end of 2019, I was sitting on probably 3,500 bottles of stock. Didn't have a clue on how I was going to sell them. In actual fact, I'd come to, in 2019 November, I applied and got my American visa. And my whole idea was like, 2020, I'm leaving South Africa, I'm going to America. For that year, I'm just going to learn. I had friends who I'd met through the restaurant who owned restaurants and vineyards in California and New York. And so that was the plan. I was like, okay, this wine thing is not moving. I don't think it's the right idea. Then 2020, bang. I was actually working my notice when COVID happened.
Really?
So I was out of job. I couldn't go to America. And I'm sitting there, and Uncle Cyril closes the alcohol. And man, I had this, what was like stressing me turned to liquid gold overnight. Man, I flogged that stuff, man.
I can imagine.
Bruh. And I'm proud of it, because that time most of my friends were out of job. So everyone ate from that lot, and we survived. And that helped me get the brand to people. People
Everyone
got
ate
to...
because you'd build them to the inside.
Yeah,
So
man, I got the least money, bro. I think at some point I was like making 100 rand from my bottle. And man, I saw the bottle was costing for like 4 times more. I'm like...
So all the guys, all the traders were made.
Yeah, man, all my friends and their friends made their markup, and I didn't even have enough. I wish I had a lot.
A lot more.
So in hindsight. So that got the people to like, no, but this wine is actually nice. So during that time, COVID, we thought it was going to be 2 weeks. Then it ended up being long. And I said, okay, what was happening with the wine not selling? I realized my pricing was wrong. And I know it's a disease in Zimbabwe, like everything you want to double or triple the price. And that's what I did. I'm like, you know what? I have to get my pricing right.
It was too expensive initially.
Not too expensive, but it wasn't priced well. Then I changed the pricing. Then I realized also my branding wasn't on point. So you guys can go and look at my old label. Because I called the wine Kumusha, it had a proper Kumusha, Kahozi, Mombe, Huku, and it's like, it was nice because it resonated with the Africans. And I remember earlier when I spoke to you, it's like, I was acting local and thinking global. And if I had to sell this wine on a global, I had to change the branding. So I felt my branding at that time had a shelf life. Probably would have lasted 3 years, 5 years. So I wanted something that's timeless on the shelf. So that's why I changed my label. So I changed all that in COVID. And just when I did that, George Floyd happened in America.
Yeah.
And I had met a friend during the judging that I told you about. So she was the editor of Wine Enthusiast magazine in America. George Floyd happened and the whole Black Lives movement happened. And she said, Tinashe, I'm putting an article in the Wine Enthusiast about black-owned brands in the world. She put me in the top 10 out of 57. Man, I got calls from America and like, yo, who's distributing for you? Who's the thing? So I had to make a rush, and I remember I had like 3,600 bottles at that time.
And that opened up American market.
That opened up American market. And when America embraced the wine, top sommeliers, top wine writers writing about it, then everyone started, oh, it's doing well in America. Okay, maybe we must take this guy serious, which is sad, but I think sometimes you need that.
You take whatever break you can.
Yeah.
If that's a break you're going to get.
And every business is a break, yeah.
Because it's endorsed by the West, now it's a good product.
Yeah.
No, let's let them know that it's good, and they must,
Yeah.
And tell me, so family.
Yeah.
Do you family, kids, wife, married?
Yeah. Not married, but I've got a partner, so not searching. I've got a 16-year-old daughter that I'm already trying to do the new school parenting, I think.
What does that look like?
Man, the way I was brought up, it was like school, go to school, university, pass. Like I told you, I wasn't bad in academics, but there wasn't a school for me about creatives, about stuff you do now. So I think, man, our generation is the walk-on where we have to parent in a different way. If your child is not good in school, it doesn't mean they're dumb, or it doesn't mean that they're not excelling. Find out what they love. And, I'm a first-generation business owner, and my legacy is to pass it on to my kids, to my grandkids. And I think as blacks, we don't have those legacy businesses, man. We don't, and that's what I really want to create. And that's why I'm vulnerable and I'm open to everything I do. I put it out there because I also want to create a blueprint and a history. So I don't want, them being a couches and everyone question where I'm getting the wealth or the money. I want, someone aspiring to no, this guy started here. He built it. There's a whole legacy. I think we lack that as people. So I'm aware of that and I'm conscious. I've got a 9-year-old daughter. If you go on my profile, probably 3/4 of my following love Nashe.
Really?
Because she was just born at the time where I was conscious. I was deep in my profession, love food. And I think I kind of passed on to that. And I've got a 3.5-year daughter as well.
Wow.
So
all father of girls.
All father of girls. And I like that. I'm in culture and norms always detect a lot of things, man. I'm grateful because I think I was meant to be a girl dad. And I love to see them grow and to impart responsibility and just allow them to be them, They might be the future of the businesses as well. So I think part of me is that, I've come to a point where I think some of the things is I don't have a choice. It's an obligation for me to come and share my story here, to be open about it so I can inspire someone. And I feel if I don't do that, which is difficult, right? Because you're vulnerable, you share a lot of things. And I feel if I don't become that person, then God will take the blessings away from me. So I try to be the best parent I can be, share my parenting, whether they are right or wrong. Everyone has got their flaws. I share my business journey openly. I'm a believer that there is enough for everyone.
Amen.
There's enough for everyone, man. And I'm, information not shared is worthless, right? So if you have an idea, no one can take it from you. If you share it, you're gonna find someone who helps you out. And I'm blessed to have guys that I call mentors. Not that I wake up every day, I'm like, mentor, help me out, what can I do? I just look by example, how they live their life, how they build their life, and I'm trying to be that person as well. So, man, I'm family, like I'm saying, not the perfect guy. Everyone has their flaws, but to most people who know me, have seen probably what you see is what you get. I'm social media, I use it because I try to share. It's easy to get people. My business was built on social media, so it's a powerful tool to use. And I think my greatest, sometimes English, I'm trying to look for the correct word. What I want to see in life is, maybe let me put it this way. I just feel as people our age, we don't realize we have to sacrifice. And I know a lot of people, especially with pressure, as young as we are, man, there are rich guys balling out there, and you'll be like, man, I wish I had that, I wish I had that. But I don't think everyone realizes that every generation has to have a sacrifice. So I'm aware and I'm conscious that what I'm creating with Kumusha, I might not fully enjoy it myself. And I'm at peace with that. And the conversations I'm having with my daughter now is like, you might not even benefit from it, but if you don't sacrifice and put your all, it means you're blocking your daughter, my grandchild. So I'm thinking 2 years, 3 years. I'm thinking 2 generations ahead with what I do with my business here.
And thank you for that. Thank you for that. For that vulnerability. You know, I think, geez, that's and that's big. And I appreciate the sentiment of you saying, that this might not be for you.
Yeah, and I'm at peace with that. I'm at peace, man. I might not buy the 2 houses, I might not drive a Lamborghini, but
surely after 300,000 bottles, maybe that.
Maybe, yeah. But you know what I mean? I'm like, for me, I think I mean, how much can you get? Like, we need money to survive. I'm not motivated with money. I'm motivated with something that's tangible, man. When I leave this place, I want to be. I want something that, okay, man, that stays up there with people.
I'll tell you one thing that you've done that can't be ever etched away from your gravestone is that you were part of the group of 4 sommeliers, you know, who went into basically the Olympics of wine tasting, you know. And I would like to hear a bit about that, just from you, how that came about, and you know what that experience was like for you.
I think how that came about is a true definition of how Zimbabweans have been through rough patches, you know, scattered all over the world, but still excel. So it so happened like around 2017, all the best restaurants in South Africa had a Zimbabwean sommelier.
Really?
Yeah, it was just like...
You were at Test Kitchen?
I was at Test Kitchen, the best restaurant in the country. Joseph was at La Colombe, the second best restaurant in the country.
Where's La Colombe?
It's in Constantia.
I think we might have been there.
Yeah.
Nice place.
Nice place, yeah. So Test Kitchen was one, I was there. Joseph was at La Colombe. Malvin was working at Cape Grace, one of the best restaurants in Cape Town, in the waterfront. And Pardon was working at Aubergine, still the best wine and food destination. Man, Harold is a wine collection that goes ages. So it so happened like, you know, we get into this competition trying to be on the South African team. So you're allowed to have one foreigner. So it's the blind world. So there's every year they do a world blind tasting championships in France. So about 36 countries just go there. So the whole idea is they give you 6 wines in a glass. So you have to smell. And just from the smell and the look, I can tell you this wine is from Zimbabwe, it's from Marondera, it's coming from the Rosari River Valley. It's a 2010 vintage. It was produced by Mukuyu.
You're joking.
Yeah.
You can do that just by looking at the wine.
Looking, smelling, and tasting the wine.
Wow.
I can tell you this is a Riesling from Germany, Mosel, 2010, Jugendmuller. I can tell you this is a Urudza Cabernet Sauvignon from Stellenbosch, 2012.
I don't know. We're not going to tell you what wine we're going to order. But
Yeah, you can. Try me.
Please just order anything and come and tell me by ear. What? So you can just by looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to taste this now.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see this. Okay. Wow.
Or to an extent.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I can give you country, varietal, vintage, grape variety, producer.
That's just time that's time and, you know,
Learning and tasting a lot of wines. That's what I told you about history. So that was intriguing about wine for me. Like, I can learn the history of champagne, the soil, the winemaking, the techniques they use, and that embedded in me, I can smell a glass and be like, okay, this is
So we digress a bit, but back to the
Or to the how it came about. So we entered this competition in South Africa, and so every country has to have their own selection. So now when they're selecting the team South Africa, it so happened that they were out of the top 10 best sellers in the country in South Africa. We had 4 Zimbabweans.
Really?
Yeah,
it's the top 10.
Yeah, in the top 10 of that year, South Africa in 2017, there were 4 Zimbabweans. And the guy who was organizing is like, but guys, you've got a team already. Why can't you form your own Zimbabwe? Yeah, and I'll do the paperwork, you guys go compete there. Then we had this lady called Jancis Robinson. She's probably the second most influential wine person. She's a lady based in the UK.
In the world.
Yeah, so she heard about this story. Oh, man, there's a team of Zimbabweans in South Africa. They're looking for funding. So she did a fundraising on her page. We managed to raise, I think, about £10,000 in less than 3 months.
Wow.
So that was enough for us to travel. And she had done a documentary before, wine documentary, with Australian guys. And she reached out to them like, man, I know you guys have been wanting to do another feel-good story. There's a team of Zimbabweans going to France for the first. I had never left the continent by then, and probably only Joseph had left. And they're going there. This is what's happening. Then they say, no, we want to film this. So they just packed their whole gear, arrived in Cape Town, I think September 2017, started shooting. But then one of the directors like, but come on, I know we're going for the competition, but how is it so happen that a group of Zimbabweans end up in South Africa and become sommeliers at the top of the game? That's the story we want. So we're going to do the competition, but we want to go Kumusha and shoot. So that's how the documentary came. It was supposed to be released in 2020. COVID happened. Then it was premiered in New York at Tribeca in 2021. It won the best documentary there. Won the best documentary in Sydney, in California. And yeah, it's still available on Showmax, I think, on DSTV.
It's called Blind Ambition.
Blind Ambition, yeah.
Blind Ambition.
Well, it didn't do much in sales for my wine. I hope it
Did not do.
Well, a little bit. A little
But
bit.
I want
Yeah.
to say, well done and back.
Thanks, man.
And sometimes
Putting the country on the map.
you're putting us on the map, putting Zimbabweans on the map, and
We need a feel good story, man. It's a lot of bull that's been talked about the country, so I think
it's good to. Well, we're blessed, and we're blessed to have you on the show and hear a little bit about your story.
yeah.
I think there's, whenever I finish these, there's always so much more to unpack and so much, but we've only got a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you very much for coming on and sharing.
Awesome.
But before you go,
You're putting me on the spot.
this
Okay, so I see you've got a whiteboard there. Can I please borrow it? Just your white paper, yeah. So the thing is, you want to look at the color, right? Color gives you a lot of indications. So I put it on the background. I don't even see my finger here, down here. So it means this is a full-bodied, ripe, rich wine. And I can tell it's young because you see the rim is like purple, so it gets degraded. So if it was an old wine, it would be like orange and degrading. So that's what I can pick up from the color, not even smelling it, just looking at it. I know it's a full-bodied wine that's been in barrel. Then I smell. Okay. I can smell the bottle has been open for a long time though.
You can smell that.
Yeah. It's been open for a long time. It might be difficult for me to pick it up. But there's a lot of richness, there's a lot of ripe fruit. It's got a lot of grip, a lot of tannin. And when we're swirling, we're just trying to aerate the wine, put oxygen so it opens up the flavors. All right. It's gripping, it's got wood. So I'd say obviously this wine is from South Africa. I would say, man, with these tannins, say that Cabernet Sauvignon
Cab Sav, South Africa.
Yeah, Cape Sav might have a bit of Merlot to it.
Okay.
Or it could be a blend, South African blend. Yeah, I would say this is it's fairly young and still big. So I'd say probably 2021, 22.
Wow.
Probably a wine from Stellenbosch, yeah.
We're getting the bottle now. We just want to see this.
Oh.
Are you confident in that? So Merlot, Cab Sav,
Yeah.
2021, 2022.
2022, 21 Stellenbosch.
At South Africa, Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
I'm watching that. Right, the bottle was obviously was open.
Shiraz, yeah. Could have gone Shiraz. But Stellenbosch though.
Shiraz.
What vintage? 22?
22.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Stellenbosch. Yeah.
So if it were the competition, I would have got points for the country,
The country,
the region, the vintage,
the year,
the year. Yeah, the year is the vintage, yeah.
vintage.
So I would have lost on the varietal, yeah.
Variety.
Yeah. But still it's quite a big wine. Hartenberg makes quite
That's amazing.
yeah. But you see how much there wasn't any left, right?
Take a bow.
So this was open for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So impressive. Well, there you have it, folks. You know,
Yeah.
so when just before we wrap up, we're about to wrap up now. But when you went to Olympics, how did you guys do? The White Olympics in Patten.
I'll let people watch the documentary.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it.
We're not going to spoil anything for you, but I can assume you would have done very well. 3 out of 4, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Mr. Tinashe Nyamudoka, if you've got any final words to say to anyone, anything, this is your camera. Be yourself.
Oh yeah, man. Man, it's been amazing, man. It's been great wine, great conversations. Like I said, I've always been a fan of your podcast and sharing these stories. We need this. You know, we need this for us in documenting it so that we have a reference. We need it to inspire other people. So yeah, man, I would just like to say keep on doing what you're doing. And to everyone watching this, please share, subscribe. You know, we want these platforms to grow because that's where, you know, creatives, business guys, ordinary guys, we all not going to be, you know, the saviors, right? But yeah, I think from a personal view is like, man, I'm grateful for what God has given me. I've managed to find my passion, my talent. Like I say, it started with wine. I'm already working on a coffee project. I'm farming turmeric, ginger, and you know, I would love to do quite a lot more for my country. And I think we're at a period where everyone is just against us, and I'm a patriot. I believe in this country. We've got so much to work with, and I'm excited with what's happening now, man. And I can't wait to be part of those people one day when they say, man, these are the guys who did well for their countries, inspired, built it. Man, I travel. Every country has its own problems. Man, Zim is not spared, but if we look behind the noise and just focus, be creative, and continue to cultivate that creativity, entrepreneurship, man, I was telling to you, I don't think, you know, I'm a pessimist guy. I believe the boat is sailed, and for me, as a visionary and as an entrepreneur, you know, you've got that ability to feel it. Like, I don't want to be left out, and I engage you guys. You know, the boat is left. Don't miss the wave. Awesome, man.
I'll tell you what, that everything's dropped today, and it was innocent. What you've done for our country already is amazing. So anything you do past this, we're excited to see, and we're excited to be part of the journey and watch your journey. We thank you for lending us your time.
Yeah, man.
And thank
Time
you
is money, yeah.
Time is money. Thank you so much for coming on. That was insightful. Good people. How good of an episode. How good is it to have Mr. Nyamudoka on the show? I just want to thank you again for your support. Please do continue to share this, like this. We'd like to thank our sponsors. We'd like to thank Highlands House for having us. We'd like to thank Liquor Supplies. We'd like to thank Drop Beverages. And we'd like to thank Mr. Nyamudoka himself. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers, man. Awesome.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome, man.
We just want to give a big thank you to Highlands House, who have hosted us today, time and time again. What a lovely venue, how accommodating they are. To Rari's premier guest house. We're so grateful to be here, and thank you for your support, and we hope that you carry on supporting them.